Good evening, everyone. We now have a very strong panel discussing golf facility management. The panelists are Mr. Gaurav Ghosh from Royal Calcutta Golf Club. Gaurav Ghosh has been a top level amateur golfer, very avid interest in golf course development. He is the brain behind development of RCGC golf course. We have Dhrupal Singh, uh, who has been into golf facility management for more than 25 years now. He has worked with ITC Classic and more importantly has been with JP Greens for a very long time. He is currently the general manager with JP Greens. Wing Commander Pradeep Bagmar, who is the promoter of Riverside Golf Course in Nasik. Wing Commander Bagmar created this facility on his own steam, and more importantly, he has done tremendous work for expanding the message of golf and spreading the game of golf in hinterland. He has exposed more than 3,000 people to the game of golf who otherwise would have had never had an opportunity to do so. Mr. Ranjit Kakkad, again from a small city of Aurangabad, MGM Golf Course. He is a promoter of MGM Golf Course and he created this golf course in Aurangabad where culture of golf did not exist. Ranjit Kakkad specializes in providing opportunities to young golfers of all kinds who otherwise would not have found a place in established golf facilities. Mr. Shashank Sandhu, an entrepreneur, a pioneer in chemical industry, is currently the captain of renowned Bombay Presidency Golf Club. Bombay Presidency Golf Club is well known for having taken a lot of initiatives of creating a better golf course, creating better drainage, creating great facilities, and it's a very sought after golf club uh, in the largest city of India. Mr. Tony Taylor needs no introduction. He's founder of Quality Golf. He has worked for a lifetime, I think more than 50 years in golf industry. He's created many golf courses. Established new golf facilities. He's improved existing facilities. Tony Taylor is a very pragmatic golf course uh, entrepreneur. I mean, he's a very pragmatic entrepreneur in the sense he specializes in renovating, improving existing facilities apart from creating new ones. I will hand over this panel to Mr. Vijit Randrajog, who will be moderating the discussion. Vijit.
Hi, everybody. Great to see you all here.
Hi, Vijay.
I hope everybody is well, safe, and healthy. So let's get this panel started as soon as possible. We're slightly running late with the overall scheme of things. So let's start with Gaurav Ghosh, if I can. Gaurav,
Hello.
hi. Obviously, you've been at the Royal for a very long time. I've happened to visit the golf course many times to play and otherwise also. So let's start off by just discussing for a golf club like Royal, where you have so much golfer traffic, close to 100,000 rounds, if I'm not mistaken, a year. So it's a committee club. So how does the relationship between your golf course superintendent and the committee work there typically?
Vijay, it's a very interesting, question because I've been just as a thing. I've been involved with the Greens Committee in Royal for close to 20 years, with a break, a couple of years break in between. But I have realized that there is a distinct difference of being a good golfer and trying to understand what agronomy and thing. There is a huge difference. When we started off in Royal in the earlier days, we had the Greens Committee consisted of all the good golfers in the club. They had diverse opinion of how a golf course should play, how it should should behave and how it was. And unfortunately, we made a mess of it. Okay. Till one fine day, one of our captains, Mr. Ajit Sarkar, realized that there is no other way but to get a subject matter expert in this field, because agronomy and golf course management is completely different from playing the game. Okay, it's a different. Uh, the differences are huge. So at that point of time in 2009, we were one of the first clubs which engaged in a expert with, and thankfully we've been able to have Tony here, and Tony can also sort of share some of those experiences. In 2009, we got Tony's company Quality Golf to come and advise us, and uh, wisely, what we also did was, one of the conditions which we had for Tony was to train our people. So it is to train our golf course people who work under his team, and luckily we've been able to address that situation. And I'll come to this question with this answer very saying what happens is, Vijay, and most of the people here are all experienced. Every golf course is different from the other. Even the golf course neighboring you could have a completely different soil profile and could behave completely different. It's about trying to find that what works for you. And what Tony did that over the years was to document what really worked for Roy. So today, although Tony now lives in Florida, but he sort of advises us over or as a consultant. But the people who he has left behind are the people who he has trained, and we have now gone back home. That Phil and Ricky both manage our golf course, and they do it very well. So this is what I'm trying to. The basic question which I want to come to is that understanding what works for you from an agronomical perspective is completely different to what really works as a player. So these are some things which committees which run golf clubs have to understand, that one has to really leave it to the subject matter expert and understand what really works for them, and that sort of is on in future. That's all I have to say, and subsequently I'll share some of our experiences.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear this, and I'm sure even all the members of the association are happy to hear what you said, that you leave the specialized work to the expert, and all that should all golf courses should follow that model. And I've seen the results, over the past few years with Tony and the team there. Fantastic. Thank you so much for the insight. So moving on from there, I think Tony, we'll move on to you here. With, like Gaurav Ghosh said, you helped out Royal Calcutta Golf Club for a number of years, and you probably set up a very, very strong system for maintenance and training people there. I've seen that firsthand. Also, one of the first golf clubs in the country to have a proper system in place. So if you could just provide your insight there, what was your thought process? What all did you do? And where Royal was when you came in, and where do you think you've taken Royal to? What the journey has been like for you?
Oh, thank you, and thank all the panelists for joining this, and thank you, Gaurav, for your kind comments. Fortunately, before I arrived in India, I'd had 15 years experience working in Southeast Asia and working with committees and sort of various levels of golf in Thailand, from country clubs that were maybe 200 kilometers out of the main city with very few local golfers, to clubs right in the city of Bangkok that would do 60, 70 rounds a year. I worked at both ends. I worked at very, very high level and very low budget golf courses. And I grew up here in the US in the golf business since I'm 14, 15 years old. I was a caddy, and it was quite charming. When I got to India, they just couldn't believe that I had been a caddy. And I said, no, I carried 2 bags, one on each shoulder. So but I love golf. I've been in the golf business my whole life. And when I arrived in India, it was just, the most charming culture. And the good thing that you have going for you is the people there are smart. They're educated. You have a great education system. People understand, they can duplicate, they can apply. And I found that the people are very willing to learn, and which is most important. So we found a couple of one Nikhil who played golf and came from that aspect, as Gaurav mentioned earlier, and then Ricky, who was more of a intellectual, who was able to calculate, calibrate. Mathematics very strong and understanding technology. So with that combination, we placed someone there, Tim Denham, who actually worked trained, and I would come and visit monthly and do training seminars, and I would train the staff. But most importantly, I want to go back a little bit and talk about Gaurav and the Greens Committee. They were also willing to listen, and it was a bit of a trial and error. But I had taken them to the facilities that I'd managed in Thailand and Singapore and Hong Kong Golf Club. So I took them to all three facilities, and what I had done at each of those facilities, through the help of my wife, who's a professional administrator, is I set up an administration system. I got the goal of the club and the reason they wanted to achieve that goal. And then I wrote the policies, because, all of the gentlemen and people in the audience, women in the audience, you understand that having a business is more of an administrative exercise. It's like having a strong set of policies that you follow. And so we wrote policies on how we were going to mow the greens, how we were going to mow the tees, how we were going to mow the fairways, what type of fertilizers we were going to use. And this came from my background and experience and able to apply it there. So the policies, were very, very detailed, and we issued a policy manual, and most importantly, it was approved by the committee. And then it was set in stone. And we had some, fluctuations when it came to maybe adjusting a week or two of coring schedules, but they followed the policies, and that's what made the system work. And then I also developed a benchmarking system to quantify the quality level of each feature: the greens, tees, fairways, bunkers. And if the bunkers didn't have drainage the first few years, every monsoon season, they would rate it 50%, or maybe the greens were at 75 or 80. So I developed this whole system from getting the goal of the club, why they wanted to achieve that goal, writing the policies, and actually quantifying the results with a measurable statistic. And we also did 3-year planning, 5-year planning, and then we would do a yearly plan. And I had a monthly plan that the superintendent would fill out. And then that's what we would do. Every day we would do, per the schedule, barring any inclement weather. And that's the key in India is your climate there is a very harsh climate to grow grass. And so, you have very wide-ranging temperatures from Delhi down to, the south of India. And Calcutta, we have beautiful winters, but, frightful monsoon seasons that we're going through right now with, where we will, have 400 or 500 millimeters of rain a month and low light conditions. I think Calcutta is the second or third lowest sunlight exposure on Earth. In the month of August, you get about 60 hours of sunlight there. So you're trying to grow grass basically in the dark. So having said all that, we found willing people, we had committee support, and used the proper technology, because there's, a minimum of 15 skill sets in this business that you have to be proficient at, from plant pathology, the study of insects, diseases, water technology, soil science, the game of golf, equipment. As the Toro presentation just demonstrated, that you could spend your whole life just maintaining equipment and not knowing all there is to know about it. So imagine having to study plant sciences and having to know the periodic table of elements and all these things. Is high science. Today I've been back in America over a year now, and I feel like I've lost 10 or 15 years of technology. I mean, I'm having to restudy a lot of things. It's gone way beyond my wildest imagination. So that's in summary what we did. But the main thing was we had support from the committee. And as you gentlemen know, they're running the other clubs in India that are on this panel. That's the key. You have to have buy-in, you have to have support, and you have to prove yourself, obviously. But for me, it took the technology and the knowledge. And they knew that they didn't know all there is to know about it, because I, in my presentations, and I would do very detailed presentations, take them to other facilities, show them the equipment fleets, show them the types of grasses, show them all these things. So they had, a real example of what it was like to create a high-end golf course, or to sustain a middle range golf course, because that's what it's all about, sustainability. So you have to work with the budget you have too. I'm not talking about I do everything 5-star. I still manage a club in Thailand that's budget is probably $350,000 a year. That's all in. I do it by Zoom, and at the end of this, because of the COVID situation, but that's not much money to maintain it. But we keep it in great condition, and the members are happy. And it's 200 kilometers outside of Bangkok, so that's basically a summary of what we did at Royal Calcutta. And I appreciate all the support of Gaurav and the past captains and the staff there, because the staff was key in implementing all this. Without their willingness and without their trial and error and wanting to learn, it would have never happened. So I'm very proud that we have great results there now.
Thanks, Tony. And you've done a good job of growing grass in the dark, like you said, very green grass in the dark also. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for the input. So we move on to Mr. Shashank, who's the captain of BPGC, also a member of club, also run by a committee. So, sir, if I may ask, the biggest challenge that I think as a golf architect when I move on to different golf courses, the committee keeps on changing every year, 2 years. So once that happens, what is the relationship with the golf course superintendent there? Like, I understand Yadvinder Shah, who is one of our members here, a young superintendent there, is managing the golf course there. So what are the kind of expectations the committee has from the maintenance team? Every new committee comes in, how does that relationship work with the green staff then?
So thank you, Vijit, for having me on this panel, and good evening to all the panelists and all the audiences. Yes, it is a democratic process that every couple of years the new committee comes in, and the new committee comes in with a new set of ideas, new set of thought processes, new projects. Some are ongoing, some are new projects altogether. And this does present a very challenging situation to the golf superintendent. What we have done at the BPGC is we have actually structured in our constitution a change wherein earlier it used to be a change every year. Now we are saying that the office bearers, the president, captain, and treasurer, will have a term of 2 years. And typically the captain takes over as the president. So what happens is you have a span of at least 4 years where one thought process is continuing. And captain being the chairman of the Greens Committee, at least the focus on the golf course continues to be what it was envisaged. The second aspect is, as rightly mentioned by Tony, we have a master plan which was designed when the upgradation took place about 5-7 years ago. And David Brinkle gave us the master plan, which we are following to the T. But having said that, it all depends on the kind of specific tasks that you are expecting from the golf course superintendent. Now, if you are able to as mentioned earlier by Gaurav as well as by Tony, we need to understand that we as committee are actually from the outside, and there are professionals who are supposed to actually look after the course management. If we realize it, we have done is we have appointed the Greens superintendent, and who is supposed to look after. He has got a team of 3 supervisors, and then below them are particularly the teams, and they are expected to make the presentation on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, and on a 6-monthly basis. Having said that, this presentation doesn't take away from the day-to-day operations. Now, we have designed in BPGC, I have designed a concept wherein the entire course is divided into 3 parts, each having a set of 6 holes. What it actually does is each team of the 6 holes are manned by a supervisor who is having about 8 to 12 people, casual workers, because of which the supervisor is the owner of that particular set of 6 holes, and then he is supposed to deliver within a span of 3 days. Why it is so? Because the team keeps on moving from one goal to one set of 6 holes to the other, which in the event finally becomes the ownership of all these 3 supervisors reporting to the green superintendent. So then it becomes not a competition, but it becomes a healthy competition and a joint and equal responsibility which is owned. Now, this kind of a situation was evolved after discussing with the green superintendent. So we need to understand that we are coming from outside and we need to rely and give what is known as leadership and let the professional drive this entire initiative. So this is also done with our CEO, who actually is the person on the spot and the point of contact for any emergency decisions which are being taken. We need to understand that golf course management is a very specialized thing. It requires a lot of scientific management, requires a lot of knowledge. And if we are able to learn from the experts, then probably we need to only provide leadership, taking financial and taking decisions which are in the long-term interest of the club. This is the thought process with which we are working as far as BPGC is concerned.
Fantastic. I think that's a good model, having a supervisor run 6 holes, team running 6 holes. That's, I've also seen that usually giving good results, healthy competition, like you said. Fantastic. Thank you, sir. So now moving on to a golf course where there's a unique aspect where you have the operations and the maintenance team, doing maintenance and operations together. Like there's a singular unit. So Gurupal Singh is the GM for JP Greens, and he is fully charged up right now with his black coffee. I've seen Dhruv having a lot of black coffee. So, Dhruv, what's the basic advantage that you think you have? You run a golf course, a resort style golf course, members club, beautiful layout, lot of membership, heavy traffic, but you have one set of people looking after the golf course maintenance and operations, pretty much. So, what do you think is the basic, reason for that? What are the advantages or disadvantages of it?
Hi Vijay, thank you so much, and good evening to all the panelists. And special thanks to GCS and MAI for organizing this thing, and it helps bring the golfing community together. It's a great initiative. Thank you. Private clubs, typically, I'll talk from that point of view. They're very revenue driven, and the greenskeepers have a lot of pressure on them to keep the golf course absolutely spick and span and in prime condition all through the year. The operations team has very high revenue targets generally. And fortunately, private clubs do employ professionals in both the fields. Typically, you would see the maintenance team or the greenskeeper wanting maximum closure days, because the more you close the course or less traffic there is, easier to maintain. Whereas the operations, there would be a pull towards operating it all through the year, to try and maximize the revenue. So there's always been, in a lot of clubs, there's always been a pull in different directions, in terms of the golf maintenance and the golf operations, always been working in different directions. So having one point of control, one point coordinating both the aspects, it really helps smoothen all the functions. It helps optimize the maintenance, it helps optimize the revenue. And in fact, today, I would say, thanks to that, last 4-5 years, we have probably been one of the very few clubs around to be operational all 7 days of the week. Mondays, we are operational only in the mornings, then we close down because maintenance starts after a certain time, and it's planned in a way that the maintenance happens behind all the golfers. So we are able to optimize from all aspects, and having one point of control, you want to close any day, you can close any day also, when some fertilization has to take place or whatever the technical advisors give, so that has to go. Talking a little beyond that, in this scenario, what's very important to have an outside agency advise you also. So that is a must also, because otherwise, you tend to, have one eye looking at a particular project. You may miss out a lot of things. That's why it's always good to have a consultant or a third eye attached with you to guide you or to point out if things are going wrong. I think that's very, very crucial, which people must get involved with. And one thing was what Tony was speaking of a while back, that we have very severe weather patterns in India. And not only severe weather patterns, the weather patterns have been changing over the past few years. Just to give you all an example, this year, last year in November, we had put ryegrass on the tees and certain areas. It lasted up to May. Can you imagine ryegrass lasting up to May? December, there's no frost anymore over here. Last 6, 7, 8 years, there's been no frost. Earlier, there used to be frost in December. Now frost is coming in January. The summers are starting a month later, the monsoons are coming late, the winters are setting in much later. So we have to keep this in mind also, while especially the greenskeepers have to keep this in mind. The operation team also has to keep this in mind while organizing events, that it's way different from what it was 15, 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago. So weather patterns not only are severe, but they have changed. They've all got delayed. That and the other thing, what Shashank was saying, very good point. He's given 6 holes to a supervisor. Very good thing. The smaller the task, the easier it becomes. In the sense, like we've also started where the non uh, the non golf maintenance staff, the other people from human resources, people from accounts, people from housekeeping, people from F&B, having to pull out half an hour a day. They've all been allotted a hole each, or teams of 2 3 people have been allotted a hole each. Technically they will not know anything, but aesthetically, at least cleanliness wise, they have been allotted a hole and they can coordinate things with the maintenance better. So that helps us in keeping the golf course in a better condition, at least aesthetically.
Sure, absolutely, Rup. And also, I think with your position, what I've seen being hands-on also, like you're a hands-on guy, and being GM, you're out on the golf course on a daily basis. So seeing that,
Yeah,
giving the inputs back to your team also, I think plays a very very key role in the overall management of the club.
yeah. See, the other thing was continuity. A lot of committees and other public, or other association-run golf courses change every few years because of the democratic process that they have. So that's the advantage private clubs have, that they have the management is there, that's fixed, and you have employees, you have professionals in various field who continue for years and years. So JP especially has been lucky and fortunate that we have people who've been with us for the last 20 years, and there's a lot of continuity. So we are able to make the 5 year plans, we are able to make the 10 year plans, we are able to put up things to the management to gradually take it up and have improvements.
Yeah, fantastic. And we're also there to see. So thanks, Rup. Thanks for the input. So from one private golf club to another, let's move on to Mr. Ranjit Kakkar, who's the promoter for MGM Golf Club in Aurangabad. Obviously, a much smaller scale than JP, but a beautiful initiative where there's a 9-hole golf course, in a stated city like Aurangabad. Like AK sir mentioned, promoting the game of golf is also very, very important for all of us. And both Mr. Kakkar and Wing Commander Bagmar are doing a fantastic job there. So, sir, Ranjit sir, if I may ask you, being a golf course in Aurangabad, a basic facility that you started on your own with very little expertise and limited resources that you built the golf course, what are the main challenges that you face? Obviously, you don't have the expertise, or you don't have the ability to hire specialists for each and every aspect of golf course maintenance and operations. So how does things work at MGM Golf Corp?
Thank you so much, Vijay ji, for this invitation to be the panelist. And good evening, everybody. Let me give little idea about where we are and how the course is being managed. We are at Aurangabad. This is a city in Maharashtra, basically famous for Ajanta, Ellora, and recently for industrial activity. We have some large corporates like Bajaj, who have a major manufacturing base in the city. So eventually it has grown as an industrial town as well. Now, we started this golf club 8 years back. It is a 9-hole course spread over 32 acres of land. And when we started, we had a couple of golfers in Aurangabad. I think I can count on my fingers. We were 4 or 8 people who used to play, mostly from army background, and a couple of them from the corporate background. So, the first thing was to actually make people play, understand golf, and, invite coaches, give them coaching. And, and this was the initial task we had. And that went on for a couple of years. Today, I can say that we have trained more than 200 people at Aurangabad. And there are more than 60, 70 golfers who are quite regular, and more than 50 are addicted now. So this is the progress which has happened in the last 8 years. And in last couple of years, we have seen another turn. We can call our golf course as a Korean golf course as well, because there are more Koreans playing now than the Indians there. So, eventually this has given a big support to the city in terms of spreading, inviting corporates to come and do the investment in the city, make their manufacturing base in Aurangabad. So we do a lot of activities for all the foreigners who are based in Aurangabad, so that they can come and enjoy the game, because this is the only facility what we have in Aurangabad where they can really enjoy the weekends. This is part of the city. We are a 12 lakh population city at Aurangabad. So, and we have eventually seen a lot of interest, particularly after Aditi's success at Olympics. We have suddenly found that the inquiry level have increased. There is more word of mouth within the city for this sport. How do we manage the course? There are definitely a lot of challenges. We have plenty of sunshine in the city. The temperature in summer crosses 40. It's a drought prone area. So the major challenge in the city to maintain 32 acre of lawn green is, water. So what we have done when we started the golf course, that time we have made 50,000 square feet, 2 big ponds, which is in this region called as Shetala, that is based on plastic. The water is stored over the surface and it is used during the summertime. So we have these 2 big ponds, which are also part of the course, because that adds the challenge to the game. And, that becomes the water hazards while playing the sport. So it was planned in such a manner where it comes as a part of the game, but doesn't disturb too much the whole area of the course layout. So this is one area where we have worked before when we were planning the course itself. The water was planned very well. Secondly, we knew that the revenue source is going to be low because there are less number of golfers in this city. It will take some time. So we had planned a CBSE English medium school at the course. So this gives a lot of support to our economics to manage the course. Now, with this, these are certain important things so that the sustainability of the course is there. It's not that, when you develop a course and then you wind up in a couple of years.
Jangi, I think there's some issue with his Wi-Fi. We'll wait for him to join back. In the meanwhile, Bagmar sir, if I can come to you. Bagmar sir is also a promoter of the Riverside Golf Course in Nasik. Fantastic facility that I've happened to visit a couple of times. And it's a small 9-hole golf course that Bagmar sir has built on his own with a lot of love and passion. Last time I went there, I think there were a team of 5 or 6 people maintaining the entire golf course, if I'm not mistaken. And you had me coming back to help set up the golf course for one of the big events that you were doing. So I remember sending a shaper there to quickly build a few bunkers right before the event. A week before the event, there were suddenly 4 or 5 bunkers around the golf course. So very interesting place. And sir, could you give us the insight on how, what was the idea when you started this golf course on your own? What the journey has been like for you?
Good evening, everybody. Vijit, thank you so very much, and all the panelists are here. They are from various very big courses, while we are one of the very smallest course in a remote place near Nasik. We are 40 kilometers off Nasik in a village, and we have developed a golf course in 22 acres, and we have very nice surroundings of a river. So we have named it Riverside Golf Course. The biggest achievement here, what we have is that the weather is on our side, and we have like temperatures ranging from 36 degree to lowest right up to 0 degree also at times. It is one of the finest weather in the country, and Nasik is known for this. And lot of vegetables, lot of grapes, and a lot of area in this. They produce all the food grains and things like that. So we decided that instead of going for traditional farming, we'll move to a new concept for the golf course. And we designed on our own and installed a golf course of 9 hole with whatever possibilities of challenges one can face, like going over the water body or going over the trees or making bunkers. And today we are proud that where we had nobody for last 2 years to play. Now we have more than 100. Apart from that, we have trained more than 2,000 children from all around the local areas, and they know what is golf. The children who had not seen even a club in his hand or a ball, he now knows what is a golf course, he knows how it is played, and he is now aspiring to become a very good golfer. Especially after the Aditi Ashok, we had a talent hunt program immediately on the next day, and we had around 30 children lined up from the age group 6 to around 20. And we chose around 14 children who will be training them over a period of 1 year, free of cost for them. We have a lot of sponsors also from Nasik, and few of the golfers who are there from Nasik also have industries. So they are mainly our sponsors. We have around 4,000 odd industries in Nasik. So lot of industrialists have joined, lot of doctors have joined, lot of architects have joined, and everybody is adding whatever he could after looking at the golf course and give us a lot of advice and lot of support to us. Apart from this, the most important support it has come to us from the district sports officer and the commissioner of sports Maharashtra. They have declared our place as a academy for golf training for Maharashtra area, and they support us with all the equipments, balls, and whatever is required in form of training for the coaching fees and all that thing. So it gives us a great help, because whatever the money has to come from somewhere. So instead of money, if it is coming in kind, still it helps us. And this reaches the lowest like grassroots level children. They know what is now golf. Those who never could wear chappals and sandals now are coming with golf shoes, with t-shirts, caps, and playing golf. They could never imagine all these things. So that is the beauty of the whole thing. Although we do not have very big facilities for F&B, and it is basically a no frill golf course. But the important is that golf is being played. The challenges were too many, like creating a golf course, creating an infrastructure, training the people, coaching them. Then also greenkeeping was one of the biggest issues, because nobody knew what is around, including me. I had to take the help from various people. Vijit helped me quite a lot, Arun Singh helped me quite a lot. So all these things over a period of time for last 3.5 years has achieved well. We have now around 100 golfers regularly playing, and they are all the members, and every day people are joining. So this is one of the facilities which we have created, and I hope this facility for these young children, they get launched properly into the bigger courses and make something big out of it.
Fantastic, sir. And I hope your golf course becomes bigger anyway. Why send them to different golf courses?
Yeah, we are looking at it.
Yes, absolutely. Fascinating, sir. And
we have plans for extending up to 18 holes.
Fantastic. That's a brilliant model, sir. I think must be replicated elsewhere in the country also. And tier 2, tier 3 cities, if we start developing these small 9-hole golf course, we'll take golf to a entirely different level. Fantastic, sir. Thank you. Tony, if I can come back to you on, a couple of questions, coming from the States, having worked in so many different countries, different golf courses. I remember you mentioned so many names when I was there, when I met up with you. What was the main difference that you saw in terms of how things work, not just in terms of the equipment and the obvious things that you see on the ground, like lack of infrastructure on the golf course or something like that, but in how things work with the management and with the committee, how golf clubs were run here versus what you've seen in Bangkok or the States?
I think just listening to the gentleman prior to me speaking now, it's an organization, it's teamwork, it's getting the the golf professionals aligned with the maintenance team, aligned with the GM, the members, everybody working together. Because although golf is a sport, it's also a business of sorts. You have to have fundamental business procedures, and you have to have teamwork and coordination. So where that is lacking anywhere, even here in the U.S., I go around a lot of golf courses now, and the best facilities are teamwork, and where they have, golf is a game, life is a game. So have a fun experience for everyone on the team. The 6-hole system that was mentioned was great competition. We still have situations like that where they compete one 18-hole against another 18-hole on the same facility. But I think the main thing is, we're in a sport. We're lucky to be in this sport. I do it for a livelihood, so I've achieved, great satisfaction out of meeting all the wonderful people I've met all over the world, and even here in Florida, still meeting people day in and day out. But I would guess that the main thing I would say, Vijit, is that recognize each other's skill set as a professional, and support the associations that are like the Club Managers Association, the MAI, and the GCS Association there, because that's where we have very strong associations. Every month we have a meeting. We have an education part of the meeting. We have a golf afterwards, and then afterwards we go in for some beverage and some food. And that's where you really learn. That's where I learned this business, was from other people in the business. And even going around now, I'm still learning new things after 45, 50 years in this business. You'll never know all there is to know. So I think my meeting point is, respect each other's professional skill sets, and then work together as a team.
All right. Fantastic. So Shashank sir, one question that I have for you is, being in Bombay, obviously monsoons also are very, very heavy there. You've recently done a renovation of the golf course. So during monsoons, is the expectation from the maintenance crew different from the other time of the year? Like, how does the maintenance crew work during the monsoons? How much pressure there is? Obviously, there's more work in terms of clearing of weed and all that. But after the renovations, have things changed in terms of the pressure on the maintenance team and how things work at the club? So I think you'll have to unmute yourself, please.
Sorry, Vijit, you rightly mentioned Mumbai and monsoons, or Mumbai monsoons, are very famous, and they are famous because it rains, and then everything gets clogged and everything gets standstill. Now, what has happened is, because of urbanization, though we are located in Chembur and we have a area of about 100 acres, the development around the course has actually lifted the levels of the course and the roads by nearly 6 inches to 1 feet. So typically what happens is, the water flows from the municipal drainages not knowingly into the course. Now, unless we don't have a very strong drainage system, we would have had a major problem. But having said that, we have actually designed a system. Particularly this year, we learned a lot during the last lockdown, that when it was opened, this was the first time, maybe in a pretty long time, that trolleys, the hand trolleys, were used because of COVID and because of touchability, etc., etc. A huge use of trolleys resulted into grave damage to the course. Members were using it, bringing it right up to the greens also. So the back of the green, or even side of the green, the fairways were damaged. And having learned this lesson, what we decided this time was, along with the green superintendent, I decided a concept wherein we cordoned off the areas where you can actually take your trolleys. This resulted into, we actually put only the nylon ropes and the pegs, which ran around the entire thing, entire course. And we also created paths for the trolleys, so without hampering the paths also. What we also did was, we used coir mat, which, along with sand. Now, coir was biodegradable. It is similar to a cricket matting. Coming from, I was a professional cricketer, so I used this particular knowledge. We used this coir matting, and we laid it up. where it would actually give a good firm footing for the trolleys and the wheels to pass through. So without hampering the members' experience of pulling the trolleys into the course by creating proper pathways, we were able to substantially reduce the damage, wear and tear that could have happened during the monsoons. I'm really happy to announce that in this, these 3.5 months, 2.5 months that monsoons have actually hit Mumbai, we had only one closure, which was only for about half a day. And in spite of that, we were able to open up. So we didn't close the course throughout this 2.5 months. And thanks to my Greens team, led by the Green Superintendent and also the CEO, we were able to monitor and ensure that the playability on the course was maintained. And also thanks to our membership who actually respected the cording off, resulting into certain discipline of taking the trolleys where it requires. It requires a lot of study, research, because members were actually complaining that how come all of a sudden you are actually cordoning off the areas. We had a research, and we came out with the research which said that the trolleys, the pull trolleys were actually damaging more because of the area which they were covering as compared to even the footfalls, which normally if you're using a caddy. So Bombay monsoons are really bad. In fact, it is predicted now we are going to get monsoons in the next 7 days, which are going to be still worse. In spite of that, in spite of the cyclone which hit us, we were able to, again, the same model which I mentioned to you about the 6-hole. Typically, we had many trees uprooted, heavy trees were fallen, but we were able to clear it within a span of 5 days, which normally would have taken more than a month or so. Again, a part of the work that were allocated. And because of the lockdown, what we did is, instead of using the casual labor, we employed the caddies. So caddies also got work to do. And they said, I mean, we told them that this is your club, you need to take care of it. And unless you don't take care of it, you will not be able to get work. Also motivating them on a day-to-day basis helped. And we were able to clear off the debris and the uprooted trees, everything. And we were able to, even today, we are able to offer good playing experience in spite of heavy monsoons.
That's an achievement, I think, considering the Bombay monsoons and what the BPGC used to be initially with the monsoons. I remember golf course being shut down for days together back in the day.
In fact, Vijit, if you come down, even though we have about 10, 12 water bodies, in spite of the levels going up, we are not shutting down the course. And the water levels do manage, because we are using the sewage water and the drainage systems being good and robust. And this is again the planning which went into when the course was being upgraded, and also listening to the professionals. It is coming back to what Tony mentioned. We need to ask ourselves as a committee, what business are we in? If we are in the business of leadership and giving vision as far as the course management and club is concerned, then we should do only that. Let the professionals handle, and they know the job best, and they'll be able to deliver.
Fantastic. It will be fascinating to see. So I haven't seen the new golf course. I'll definitely make a visit and see what has been done. Yeah, thank you. And question for Gaurav Ghosh. Gaurav, I've always been fascinated with the league that you guys do there, the biggest golf league in the country. Once that is on, I think that continues for weeks and weeks together, if I'm not mistaken. So what are the special things that you do in terms of setting up the golf course, or just management of the course at that time? Are there some different sets of maintenance practices that go on, or operational practices that go on during that time?
Yeah, Vijay, it's a very interesting question, because you know that Calcutta, as Tony has mentioned, has very severe monsoons as well, like Bombay. And we've already finished, as of today, our rainfall data shows that we've already completed what we got last year for the full year. The rainfall, we've already 200 millimeters above that in the middle of August. So, so when we prepare for a league, at the end of the day, this league is now become a commercial. It started off as a bonhomie experience to try and get the club together. This was started in one of our captain Adit Khetan's time, and then it realized to become a commercial thing. Can everybody hear me? Or
Yeah, absolutely, loud and clear.
yeah. So it became a commercial thing. So now what's happened is that when it becomes a commercial experience, then you have to prepare for it. You can't give the membership to play on a golf course which is not ready. So the work starts months before, and I think what even now when Nikhil and we discussed that we have to now get it because we are reponing our league this year to November, so we have to be ready in November for the golf league to start. And as Mr. Sandhu said, even Royal Calcutta Golf Club hasn't shut down as yet. We shut down for a few hours this year at this kind of rain, and we don't have the robust drainage systems like some of the other modern clubs do. We are pumping water out of the property. We work our pumps, and these are all, again, this is experience based on our experience and how Tony has taught the team, and they are able to do, and we keep playing. So having said that, we have to ensure that the golf course, and so as Tony mentioned, we have a very defined manual which we follow to the T. Even to this day, if you ask our greenskeepers, they're mowing the greens at the heights that they do. The roughs are cut at the way it is, so to prepare for it, so that the weed management policy, because you know that the low lying areas get the weed first. So to manage those areas, we are operating in full strength at the moment. And yeah, we will be ready in November for the RPGL to start, and it's a process, and these processes, as a lot of you all have mentioned in the panel, that these processes are cast in stone. In fact, our manual is written down, and most of us are this sort of goes on to prepare for our tournaments. We've got events all starting in November, so the golf course is going to be ready for it.
I mean, it's definitely a spectacle. Huh? I've seen it once or twice. I couldn't believe my eyes how many people were, following like a PGA Tour event.
Yeah, it's actually some of the final has more crowds than a PGTI, than the McLeod Russell finals, and in fact, that's the way it is. And
yeah, I had sweaty palms just looking at the number of people around the putting green.
Yes. One of the biggest problem is now we are facing is membership tee-off time, because the RPGL takes time, and then the senior members who don't play the RPGL are now pushing for tee-off times, and they say that it's their right, and rightfully so. So the challenges are to manage. The challenges are also on the golf course team to start. They start very early in the morning to get the golf course prepared for the members to start. We have members who come in at. In fact, we just got a call from somebody who says, "Can I bring my car at 3:45 in the morning?" He was so that he can start off, he can tee up, and he can block his tee off time. So he can block his tee off time at These are the kind of challenges that RCGC is facing. In fact, I was just going through our WhatsApp group now. There's some rumor which is floating that the membership, that the club will only open at 5 o'clock. So there's a whole load of messages which are flowing around. So these are huge challenges in a membership-driven club.
Yeah.
And in fact, Tony will bear out. Tony for years complained about the club opening so early because the ground staff couldn't go in. Because they were getting golf balls hit at them and things like that. And so these are some of the challenges that we face.
Right. Fascinating. Okay. Thank you so much, Jens. Unfortunately, we have such a strong panel. We can go on for, I think, another 2 hours, but unfortunately, we run out of time. So we'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of this panel. And we look forward to having you again very soon.
Thank you for having us, Vijit.
Thank you, Vijit. Thank you all the panelists.
Thank you for having everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.